Go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Vital Healing Kitchen show for the month of February 2017. It's been hard for me to say that it's February, given we have 85-degree weather, and I'm feeling like it's more like June, but I'm very grateful for that. The topic of this month's show is healing from the inside out. And what we're going to be doing is going through foods that are nourishing for different parts of your body. So I'm going to be sharing with you the concept of not just making food for the pleasure of it, but really having things in mind that bring together nutrients and particular chemical components of the food that actually help you to heal, that actually help different parts of you to heal. And it's fun to do because you think about, oh, I want this nutrient and that nutrient, and how do we do this? So we're going to be going through some recipes. And I say we because I have a special guest today. And a lot of you know Lynn already. She has been very active on our Facebook groups, and she's very much a very integral part of our team. And I'm excited to have her here. She's visiting for a number of reasons, and we're getting a lot of work done while she's here. And we're going to be doing this show together. What I wanted to make sure that you know is if you're not already a member of our Vital community and you want actually to get the high density recording of this and then also the recipe guide and plenty of other great resources, you can go to vitalhealthcommunity.com and sign up. But in the meantime, you have access to this, and within the next 48 to 72 hours, you have access to be able to watch a replay on the site. So I'm excited to share, and I wanted to start with, we have a bunch of different foods and nutrients that we want to talk to you about, but Lynn has a favorite recipe that she keeps telling me about and I've never tasted. So I want her to teach you how to do it. So I'm going to introduce, with my pleasure and lots of gratitude, Linda Gore-Johnson. Oh, here she is.
Hi. So, it's interesting too with the idea of nurturing from the inside out. The inside is also that emotional part of ourselves. So this particular recipe I received when, for my 50th birthday, I flew out to California and spent 2 days with somebody who I was kind of following at that point. His name was Lou Corona. And the interesting nurturing part of that is I didn't tell anybody I was going to do this. We got our tax return, and I knew my 50th birthday was coming up, and I just went online and booked the flight. And then I told my husband that I was going out to California and going to be spending this one-on-one time with this man. And so that was part of the nurturing part of that experience. So not that I'm in telling you all to break the bank and go book yourself somewhere unless that works. But I just wanted to emphasize that nurturing comes from recognizing that part of ourselves that also needs to be taken care of. And then we make these choices to make these foods that really flood ourselves with that good nutrition. So that being said, I'm going to get the almonds.
So tell them the name of the recipe.
So it's called, Very Wet Gorilla Milk.
Here, get that to, here, Diane's going to rinse these off.
Okay, sorry.
There's a strainer here. And we'll get that cleaned up.
Sorry. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So, first step is not to spill the water. So what I've done is I've soaked some almonds, and if you have time, you can take the skins off. If you don't, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to take about a cup of the soaked and sprouted almonds. I typically soak them for about 12 to 24 hours, but do as much as you can. You'll see that how they're starting to get a little bit splitting away from the inside of it, the skin is. Sometimes you'll get a little white nub there that shows it's sprouting. the other part of that I want to say is if you really want to get good organic raw almonds, you want to buy it directly from the grower, because the California law has said that they have to pasteurize them if they sell them like to your co-op or the store, a middleman. So it may be that you soak them and you won't see that they sprout. So that's just another little tip there. So I'm going to take a cup of the almonds. Yes, ma'am. And so I typically do this with coconut water. Check your blood sugar. I'm pretty good with my blood sugar right now. If I was testing it and it was not behaving well at that point, I would just use typical your water. So put that in, and that's what we're using this time, because many of us are doing a sweet spot metabolic reset. So we're not tempting anybody. Thank you. Better one. Great, thanks.
And the ratio you're doing is?
So it's 1 cup of the almonds to 3 cups of water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it in the blender, make a little bit of noise, and then I'm going to take that and run it through nut milk bag. This is the plug-in.
What is?
Check the power strip
Oh,
on.
it is power strips.
The juicer's on. Okay. This is a nut milk bag, and you can use a nut milk bag. Some people I have used clean pantyhose. You can use just a regular strainer. You don't even have to do it at all if you don't want to. I strain it simply because I like it a little smoother.
And I don't, because I don't like to spend the time.
And honestly, I find it very therapeutic to just sit here and squeeze.
It's milking a cow.
It's like milking a cow or a goat, or, well, I won't say sheep because their teats are a little smaller. But it's just, there's just something about getting your hands on there and breathing and letting it go. And then the other part to this is that you can use this pulp to make things. What I typically have done in the past is mixed it with things like cinnamon or cardamom or chopped up apple or whatever it is that you can tolerate. And then I make little cookies and put them in the dehydrator. You don't even have to wait that far to do it.
Or crackers work really well.
Or crackers.
With some pulp.
Yep.
Vegetable pulp.
Exactly. And actually after I do some juicing, I might take my green juice and mix it with this and make a cracker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really lovely too. So nothing goes to waste. It's very efficient. All right. And I will hand this over to my lovely assistant. I'm going to pour this back in here. Okay. Do I hand it to you? Okay. I'll wash my hands for just a second.
And juicer.
I will be using a juicer. I also, at this point, again, it's not necessary, but because I want to add more nutrition into it, I like to add in some probiotic powder. Is this the powder?
Yep, of
Okay.
course, nutritional.
So I use a tablespoon of probiotic powder. It just really ramps it up. And this particular probiotic powder is Friendly Force by Health Force Nutritional. But you can get whatever is working for you. If you happen to know your particular microbiome, you might know which probiotic strain you need the most. I also add a little cinnamon and a little salt. You don't have to. You can add, this is where you get to really play. And cinnamon. A dash of salt.
I just want to make sure it's set up properly.
A dash of cinnamon. And then I'm going to be juicing some things. You can probably see already that this is going to create quite a bit. So usually I make this and it's good for about 3 days. And for those of you who are already in Dr. Rita Marie's program, this is an elixir. We've got a fat. We're going to be using some coconut meat as well. Where is that on the cup? This is exotic superfoods. Coconut meat, you can buy them frozen.
Yep, and it's organic, it's raw, just the young Thai coconut. And personally, I don't have the patience or the time for buying the coconuts and doing them. So when Lynn introduced me to this, I was in heaven. I was totally in heaven because there's, you get these bags and they deliver them and you freeze them and they're flash frozen and they're very fresh. So very awesome stuff.
So the first thing we're going to juice is a head of kale. Where's the? Here it is. You can actually intersperse what you juice. Because I put celery in there, sometimes I'll use celery. Whoops! There we go. You have that. No. Oh. Yours is different than mine. I'm sorry.
That one will catch the whole.
You can do it with a green star like this. You can use a gravel. Whatever juicer you have. We're going to also use a bunch of parsley and a bunch of cilantro. So you can really start seeing where all these greens and the nutrients are just going to really...
Let's not do anything. Let's just make another.
It's also good arm workout. Now, these are just what I use. You can use whatever greens you want. You can use different, you can use spinach. You can use, there's so many greens. You can use mint, dandelions.
It's really good to alternate the hard stuff with the soft stuff because it was getting stuck on there.
Right.
So what I did was this has a reverse, so I just put it on reverse and back and forth so you can see how the celery will push it in more. Yeah. Now.
We're gonna put a cucumber in there.
You grow your own, you don't have to peel them.
Right.
We bought them at the store, and even though they're organic, the signs say that the cucumbers are waxed, which is unfortunate. When it's organic, you'd like to be able to just use the whole food, but unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Now, I do sometimes put in an apple. Again, if your body doesn't accept that, then don't do it. I don't even put in a whole apple. I might just put a chunk in. For some reason, for me, that just, I like it. I don't like lots and lots of sweet because that just isn't great, but it's just sweet enough. Yep. You can put a lemon in here. You can lime. I'm just giving you an idea for some things. Yep, yeah, you can just do that, yeah. It does take a little time to do this, so that's why, on my food prep day, I'll make a big, tall batch of it. You might have seen those really big,
Oh, yeah. They line up. It's got
Yep.
the way this works. It's got a specific angle, and so you have to line up the arrows on it.
Mine is,
Yeah, mine is an old one. It's probably 15. I probably got this when we first moved to this house, which was 18 years ago. So maybe this is 16 years old. I don't remember, but it's quite old. I wouldn't call my son quite old, but I would call my juicer quite old. He's not old for a person, but this is old for a juicer.
it's very serviceable.
It's a great juicer. And they probably have a new more compact model now, and I'm sure it's changed a little bit.
A little, but not. Mine is about 5 years old. So what we're gonna do when this is all done in juice?
See how it just sucked that
I
in?
know it. It's is we're gonna mix it.
I know, the kale is awesome. No working. And the cool part is you can have the kale, the whole, so you get the stems as well. A lot of times people take the stems off.
Yeah, if you're making a salad or
You're
something.
making a salad because they're stiff, but you can save those stems for the juice because they're loaded with calcium and other bone building nutrients. So
For a moment,
Yeah.
we're gonna.
yeah, if we want to talk about what this is good for, I mean, you've got your fats, you've got MCTs from them, which are good for your gut, and you've got all these minerals, bone building. This is such a nutritious thing.
It's an elixir. When I first met you, and you started talking your elixirs, I'm like, that's what
That's what this is. Yeah.
So we're just gonna, and then you can obviously keep going. There you go.
Wow. Plus the cinnamon, which is great for blood
Oh,
sugar
yeah.
balancing and digestion.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. So we get to taste it.
No, not at all.
All right. Lemon.
Okay. Is this
It's
the
very good. It still has a little hint of the bitterness of the kale. Lemon will dissipate that.
And see, I put more kale in than the other greens.
That's common.
Do you want one or I got this.
All right. Turn it. I always turn my blender down to, I don't always. I try to, I don't always. Turn it down when I turn it on, so we're just, since all I did was add lemon, a spoon would have done the trick, right?
So what I do, because I would continue juicing all of this, is I would take this and dump it in. I have this really huge, like a pickle jar. And so I'll dump half of that in, and then I'll keep doing it. At the end, it's all going to be in this really big pickle jar. So it's all going to, it will balance itself out eventually.
Yeah.
Let
Awesome.
me see.
That's what it's supposed to taste like.
It's not as strong as I normally. Mine is definitely more bitter.
Good.
But I mean, in a good way.
In a good way, right.
It's a strong, it's like I know. But this is very nice. It's not, there's not a strong taste one way or the other.
Nice.
Did you want to try
Very
some?
good. Glass here. Scott, you want to try?
Of course. If there's anything with coconut, I will try.
Anything with coconut, yeah. And you could put more coconut if you wanted to, or it's really, a lot of these meals are just things that you want to balance. But talking about nourishing from the inside out, how much nourishment are you getting in this one glass? It's pretty.
And you're very
intense.
sated because fat in there, it takes care of that. And it in your mouth, that mouth feel is really important because it coats your mouth with that fat, and so you feel like yeah.
Right. Whereas if you just drank the juice, you would feel like it's great, it's very nourishing, but it doesn't have that satiation feeling, and you want something lighter.
Yeah.
So it just.
I mean, I start the day with my lemon ginger blast, and that's really good. Gets the digestion going, and then I might have something like this, like about 11, and this will take me over till maybe 4 when I have my actual dinner.
Nice.
So
Great.
there you go.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll move some of the stuff and put it back in the bowl so we can use it for you. And then we'll just move this out of the way. And we'll switch gears. And any questions, Scott will let us know. And then we'll move on to another couple of recipes that we're excited about.
You can get on.
Okay. Just unplug it.
Do you know where you can get this coconut cheaper? Minimum's like $100.
That's
No,
it.
but the thing
It's
is,
like it lasts forever.
Yeah.
May last months.
and that's the thing. As many of you know, I have a large family.
Freeze it.
I have more family than money sometimes. I'd still buy this because 1, it's good for us, and 2, the value. It's and it freezes, so it's not going to go anywhere. You don't use tons of it. One of those cases lasts me 6 to 9 months. I don't use as much of it where I live in the wintertime because it's cold. I find it very cooling. It's a tropical fruit, so it's meant to cool.
Right.
So for me, it lasts longer.
Yep. And if you were to buy these at the Thai or Asian store, they're probably about $1.50 a coconut, but they're not organic. And you're to try to buy the organic version of these. They're more like $5. Yeah, more like $5. $3.50. Okay, $3.50. Okay, they've come down, so that's good. But the equivalent, I mean,
but then
anyway,
you don't have to spend the time or the fear of cutting open this thing and making sure you don't cut your fingers off.
So I'm going to show you something else we make with it.
Yeah.
The questions are: can you substitute canned coconut milk instead of this, and can you warm what you made?
Oh,
of course.
Well, you can absolutely warm it. I will tell you that if you put warming spices in there, so like you saw me put some cinnamon in there, you could put some ginger or turmeric or any other warming spices. The action of the blender warms it up. I mean, just here it was actually warm.
Warm, yeah.
So there's that part of it too. You could put hot peppers in there. So like
Cordyceps.
habanero or jalapenos.
Raw cacao or cordyceps.
Well, yeah, you
It's
can do
different.
whatever
Anything
you want
you
with
want.
it. You can add, you
Yeah.
can just chart this as a thing. If you have a problem getting coconut, then you don't use coconut. Use another
fat.
fat.
You could actually,
or
you know,
just
you could
do the
use
almond milk
coconut
with the
butter if you have your dried coconut. You could use that.
coconut butter.
Experiment.
You can get dried coconut for $3 a pound.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Organic.
And if you want to use avocado because you want something more, you know, maybe you can't tolerate coconut. It's the whole idea of the fat.
Yeah,
and you
it's-
can add the MCT oil
For the coconut.
for the
gut stuff.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Good questions.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn.
Well,
I want to show you another use of this. Probiotic foods are really important. I mean, we're trying to nourish from the inside out as opposed to eating foods for their taste value. This is coconut yogurt. And what I did was it was full to the top, but I took a bag of this coconut and I mixed it in the blender. And all I did was add a teaspoon of the probiotic powder. Now, Lynn put probiotic powder in there. So as her gorilla milk sits in the fridge for several days, it's going to be fermenting. It's going to be, the probiotics are going to eat on whatever carbohydrate is in there, and they're going to multiply. So she's going to get a fermented kind of a kefir type. It is obviously much different than a kefir, but it's a great way to do things. So what I did was I just blended up the bag. I put some water in it to get the right consistency. That's the consistency I wanted. So I just blended enough water. I made it a little thinner because it will thicken. I put a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of this, and I put it in, blended it, put it in the dehydrator overnight. You could have put it on top of the refrigerator in a warm place. If you're in the north and you still have, you know, the radiators that I grew up, we had radiators, you know, these little things that heat. I don't know if people still have those anymore, but older houses still have those. And you can put it near there. You put it in the dehydrator. You can get a yogurt maker. They're like $30 on Amazon, and they keep it at just the right temperature. We have one up there. If Scott wants to take it down, we can show it, but it has a dome, and you can make anything into yogurt. People think of yogurt as being a dairy product, and most people have a problem with dairy. I'm not a big fan of dairy. It's high on the allergen list. Casein is gluey, and it gums up the intestines. The galactose, which is the sugar that the lactose breaks down into, even if you tolerate lactose, which a lot of people don't, but even if you tolerate the lactose, once it gets formed into galactose, it's been attributed to higher incidences of uterine cancer and breast cancer. So I'm not a fan of cow dairy or even goat dairy. I mean, if you have your own goat and it's not pasteurized, it's much better. And then if you milk it and it's raw and then you ferment it, way better. But if you're just going to the store and buying even the organic dairy, it's been so processed, I don't think it's good food for most people. Plus it raises insulin levels in the body, which might be good for a type 1 diabetic, but not so good for the rest of us who have insulin resistance. So I make this yogurt, and this is my coconut version. I've made it with cashews. I've done cashew hemp, and we've got a lot of other shows that we've showed how to do that. But I just wanted to show you how beautiful that is. But here's the thing. I mean, this can make a beautiful breakfast on top of a chia porridge. So I have some chia soaking over here. You could make a little pudding with that on there. It's kind of thin right now because it hasn't been soaking all that long, but I'll just show you real quick. One of the breakfast treats that I like to do, but I'll put the chia into a bowl. Like I said, it would be, hopefully it was the right proportion, but usually 6 cups of water to 1 cup chia. And when you let it sit for a few hours, it gets thicker. So we just didn't let it sit that long, but you put the chia into a bowl, and then you can put a dollop, quite a few dollops I like, of the coconut yogurt, and then vanilla. We just got this amazing vanilla powder. I found it on Amazon. And look at this. It's just pure vanilla beans, nothing else, and it's organic. Kiva health food. I just discovered it. We've been playing with it. It has a sweetness to it. I like it much better than the vanilla extract because you don't have the alcohol or the glycerin that get in the way of the flavor. This is just pure. So I would just take a spoon, and I would just, maybe with that much yogurt, I would put